I thought, since I am in the process of preparing to shoot this feature, and we're going to shoot a trailer, teaser, sizzle reel, whatever you want to call it, first, that I would start taking you through the process that I go through as I start to prepare to do that. So even though I've given notes to the writer and she is working on a rewrite, we don't have that rewritten script yet, but we don't need that necessarily to put together a trailer. So I sent the current script that I have to my DP, and he has read it, and I reread it again today, and I took a bunch of notes about various excerpts of scenes, not even full scenes, but pieces of scenes that I thought would be good to have in the trailer. Highlights from the film, pieces that would not just give an overview of the story, but would be visually interesting and arresting. It's about a woman. Her life is completely turned upside down. She is a ballet dancer. She's a very good ballet dancer, and then she's in a car accident. The movie starts with her in the hospital right after she has just been in this devastating car accident and has had to have surgery and is now paralyzed from the waist down. She really has to rebuild her life completely, and the movie is about that process. I'm taking snippets of scenes from the hospital, from her previous life, because there are a lot of flashbacks to when she was actually dancing, snippets of that, some of the rehabilitation, because what's really interesting and unique about this movie that sets it apart from any other movie, which is what you always want. You want some element that's going to set it apart from any other movie, is the type of rehabilitation that she goes through, which is a dance rehabilitation. And there's a very specific kind of dance rehabilitation that's here in Pasadena, where they have dance therapy for people who are disabled, in wheelchairs, quadriplegic, paraplegic, missing limbs. So we're looking at possibly incorporating a scene from that in the teaser. She has a strained relationship with her mother, who takes her in and cares for her, so there's got to be at least a scene. And so I went through the script again today, and I called out little pieces of scenes, a little bit of dialogue here, a little piece of a scene there, a little piece of a scene there, that I thought visually would be interesting, that we could cut together, that kind of tells a little bit of the story, doesn't give too much of it away, and yet is enticing, is interesting, and visually are all enough different that it doesn't all start to look exactly the same, but it shows the investors and other people that are going to be interested in the movie kind of what they are investing in and they're looking at. And also, if we can, and I don't know because we're having this meeting on Monday, we'll be talking to the producer about, can we get one or two of our name talent there? We'll find out. Some of the stuff that I'm putting on my list, yes, I would want some of the name talent there. And I mentioned that to her in the meeting that we had 2 days ago. She said she would be looking into that. On Friday, I'll be sitting with my DP because he's doing the same thing today and tomorrow that I'm doing. And Friday, we're meeting and we're going to compare lists. And we're going to say, what's on your list? What's on your list? What do you think? What do you think? So that we go into the meeting on Monday night with a producer saying, this is what we think together we should shoot, and how long it will take to shoot it, and kind of what we're going to need for a budget, so that we can give her a tentative idea of what that all is going to look like. She already knows she's going to need a budget. I've already told her, sort of given her a little bit of an idea. You know, it's going to be at least a 2 to 3 day shoot, and it's going to kind of take this kind of a budget. But, you know, once I meet with my DP, I'll have a better idea, a more exact idea of what that all is going to be. So that's sort of my process, how I do it, pick through the script. I already, the first time I read through the script, had an initial impression of how I wanted the film to look. I kind of came up with an overall vision and look for the film just when I first read it. I don't know if you're familiar with the artist Edgar Degas. He was a French impressionistic painter who painted a lot of ballet scenes. My DP's mother teaches art, fine art, painting and art history in college. And so every time I come to him with an artist that I say, I want it to look like the work of this artist. When I came to him and I said, I want this film to look like a Rembrandt painting, he was like, oh, great, awesome. And then he went and researched Rembrandt. And now I said, I want this to look like Degas. He was like, oh, awesome. I've been wanting to do something that looks like Degas. So it's like, he loves it when I come to him with the idea of having it look like a painting, because he can really wrap his mind around that visually with camera angles, framing, and lighting. That really helps him see what I want. And that informs me because I see things visually. I've studied a lot of art. I paint as a hobby. So painting really is one of my favorite things to liken film to. And there's a visual texture, look, and framing to paintings that I think can often be applied to film. And when I said to him Degas, I think he knew what I meant. And for me, a film like this needs to be very artistic. It needs to have a more classical feel to it because it's ballet and not something like hip hop or modern dance or something like that. If it was going to be any kind of dance, it's being ballet. It needs to have that more classical look to it. And because Degas painted ballet scenes, it seems like a very natural place to go with it. But it also, to me, Degas is very soft and filmic looking without a lot of harsh, sharp edges that sometimes you get with digital photography. With the red cameras and the digital cameras, it's more cinematic. Not that we're going to shoot it on film, but it's a certain kind of lighting and a certain way of using the camera that, but particularly the lighting, that you're going to need to do to make the camera create that image. And not everyone knows how to do that. They know how to create that really high contrasty, sharp-edged techno look with those cameras, because that's something those cameras are really good at doing, because that digital image is very sharp and contrasty, but it's not really particularly soft and more light and shadowy, which is what I want. But my guy knows how to do that, so yay. I have a very good DP. He's worked in the business for a number of years. He does work as a DP on smaller projects, but his bread and butter work is as a first AC. That's a first assistant camera. And he works on big budget union projects, studio films and television shows as a first AC. And that means he's operating the camera. It means he's running the camera. And that means he knows pretty much every camera that's out there and how it works, because he's run all of them. He's hands-on, run them. So a brand new camera comes out, he gets an opportunity to operate it because somebody that he's going to do a film with is going to want to use it, and he's going to learn it because he's going to run that camera because he's going to be the first AC and he's going to run it. That's really how we're going to roll on this one. And we're going to get together on Friday, compare notes, so that we go into the meeting on Monday evening with the producer and we say, this is what we really think we need to shoot, these locations, this many days, and can we get these actors to be available, and when do you want to do it? And see what she says. And we'd want this camera and this kind of setup, and let's see how soon she wants to go on that. So I'm happy.